is that?
What's an addendum?
Exactly.
What? Do I have to pay for that?
And I think that that's a common misconception too.
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is The Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. All right, and joining me today for this episode, I have the pleasure of speaking with Julia Ollearis. How you doing, Julia?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for your time today. Just want to ask you a few questions and get into your mind a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
So, I did a little bit of research on you, Julia. I found out that you have a marketing and public relations degree from U of M Flint, as well as an associate's degree in photography.
Yeah, so I went to Washtenaw right out of high school and I got a degree in photographic technology, which was a really fun experience. So taught me. It
sounds very fancy.
You know, kind of, but not really.
Okay. So let me ask you, staying in that lane then, is there anything you felt like you've learned in regards to marketing and public relations from U of M that you feel like you could not have learned through experience?
Yes and no. I have very strong opinions on college. I think going there and creating the networking that you can is the larger component of going. Obviously, there's education involved in learning and whatnot, but truthfully, I had one professor, his name was Chris, and he was my marketing professor, and it was just, that was the class that helped me really learn that, like, at the core of it all, networking is what's going to help get you to the next opportunity.
For sure.
So I think that there was ways that it helped me as far as the educational side of it, but I think it was more kind of life lessons and learning to get your name out there and meet new people that kind of was the main component of my education. I don't think that...
I can understand.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things you can learn in college, but I think there's also a lot of things you can do when you submerge yourself in an industry and talk to new people and learn new things from everybody else.
Right, okay.
And so that's especially college, right? Learning from other people. So
what about photography? I know you typically you don't have to go to school to be a photographer. So I mean, would you suggest any photographers actually go to school for photography, and are there any advantages to going to school for photography?
Yeah, so I always say yes to this question because I feel like there's a lot of the technology side that you can learn from school. But then on the other side, I can say no too because you can learn from other people. I think it was necessary for me to go to school for it because it helped me learn from people that already knew what they were doing. I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. I learned how the wheel worked and I went from there. I think it was beneficial for me because I was just getting out of high school and I needed some kind of path to go down, and I've always had a large passion for photography. But I would never say that anything for someone is 100% necessary. I just think for me personally, it was a beneficial road to take my journey of life down. And I just think the benefits were, I went to Washtenaw Community College and they have a lot of resources to be able to learn a bunch of different brands, technologies, and even some old technologies such as like darkroom stuff. And I think that's really what benefited me, was getting to learn through other people rather than trying to learn myself.
Gotcha. Okay. So when you went to school and you majored in marketing and public relations and got your associates in photography, did you have the intention to go into real estate with that, or did that something that just happened?
No, when I went for my photography degree, my idea was, which I still do very minuscule amounts, but I wanted to be a wedding photographer. And I did do a little bit of that, so it's kind of like I got to check that desire box, but it's a lot of work, as is almost any career. But as much as I do love it, it's not something that I want to do every weekend.
It's a lot of
So
money there.
that was my initial thing for going to school for.
Okay.
And then when I went to U of M Flint, I wanted to work in a marketing agency. Obviously, I don't do that either. Life had a couple different plans for me. And I ended up in real estate.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about it then. Correct me if I'm wrong. You got your real estate license in 2019 BC,
Yes.
before COVID,
Yes.
and then it says that you went full time in 2021.
Yes. So
Can you explain that 2 year gap between getting your license and going full time?
yeah. So when I first started in the real estate industry, it was actually a crazy string of connections. My boss at the time, I had nannied her children, and I was pregnant with my second. And I went up to her and I was like, "You need help. I need a job. Let me help you." And so I was her admin, her transaction coordinator for a little while. And then after that time in 2019, it was about June, and she was like, "I need you to get licensed so that you can help me open doors. Because legally you have to have your license in order to show houses." So I was like, okay, why not? Like, what is this going to affect me at all? And it's only a better thing to continue educating myself on these things. So
100%.
I did that. I started working for Windows Still fall of 2019, right before BC, before COVID. And I kind of just fell in love with seeing houses and helping people in that process. And so January of 2021, I had left that admin position and kind of switched over to working at Windows Still full time. And ironically enough, my sister was like texting me one day. She was moving. She was like, "Who can I get to sell my house? Who would you trust? Because you know people." And I called a buddy of mine and I was like, "Hey, my sister's selling her house. I'd really like if you would get in contact with her and possibly represent her." And he goes, "You have your license. Why don't you just come work here and sell it yourself?" And I kind of thought about it and I was like, what the heck? Like, why not? Let's see what happens. And now I'm here.
And I'm assuming that was your first sale.
That was my first sale, which funny
it
enough,
is.
I just saw on Facebook and it closed 1 year ago today.
Oh, look at that today.
Yes.
Oh, congratulations.
1 year ago
Look
today,
at that.
we closed on our house and it was kind of just the start of it all, I guess you could say.
It's your real estate anniversary. Nice. Okay. So let's get into the market that you serve. Where are you currently?
So
Where do you currently
I
serve?
am currently in Howell, Michigan. I serve a lot in the Livingston County area, but I also go to all surrounding counties because why not take it a little adventure and get to know my state of Michigan a little bit more and the surrounding cities. So I serve a good portion of Metro Detroit.
Oh, so you're even in the Metro Detroit area also.
Yeah, we're...
So with that being said, I know there's a lot of competition.
Oh, yeah.
How are you setting yourself apart from the competition?
So I try to serve my clients, I mean, just like everybody else, in the best interest of them. But I really try to listen. There was one class that I took for because my marketing and PR degree is like umbrellaed with communications. And one of the classes that I took, our teacher talked to us about active listening. And that's kind of what I do with my clients, is I really try to listen to them best as possible, hear what they like, hear what they don't like, and never try to be too pushy. Very open with them about like, hey, if you feel like I'm trying to push you in a direction, tell me, because that's the exact opposite of what I want to do. It's a big decision for them, and I'm here to support you, negotiate for you, and get you the house that you want to be in. So that's kind of my method of making sure my clients are happy with the service that I'm providing them.
There you go. There you go. Setting yourself apart, being unique, things of that nature. That
Yeah.
you'd be surprised how far that goes along, asking the right questions and not being pushy. That's what I don't like about sales job. I don't want to force anyone to buy anything just so I can even just so I can live. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I know that's kind of the way of sales, but that type of pressure, I'm just not built for. So I completely understand that.
Oh yeah, I grew up.
100%.
My dad worked in sales my entire life, so I grew up with a salesman as a dad, and I
Yeah.
feel like that was one of the benefits is understanding a client's gonna buy or sell, one way or another. How can you make them feel most comfortable with them buying and selling with you?
True.
And that's kind of my method is one, being myself, and two, just listening. I feel like salespeople do a lot of talking, which I love to do too. But I feel like sometimes you have to switch from chatty Cathy to listening Larry, and,
Yep.
and
There you go.
really actively hear what they're saying.
Yeah, so you got to be fluid a bit. You got to be,
Yeah.
depending on the space and who you're talking to, you might have to talk one, you might have to listen in one space. So
Yeah.
that goes into being, like I say, fluid, being able to transform or evolve. Let's say that. How do you feel like you've evolved as a realtor over the last year since your first sale or since you've obtained your license?
I, this might sound silly, but learning,
Mm-hmm.
listening to what other successful agents have done, taking their advice and molding it into something that will fit me and what I want to do. I feel like I always loved learning. Obviously, why I have a couple different degrees, and
There it is.
listening and learning are key components to me and finding my success. Because if I just went in with my horse blinders and didn't kind of look at what anyone else that was successful was doing, be kind of like, again, reinventing the wheel. And
Correct.
when other people have done things successfully, you can take what they've done in their experiences and make them into your own. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So, you deal with a lot of people. You're in different markets. How are you managing customer service? How do you provide great customer service?
Well, thankfully, right now I have a really great team that helps me out. We have our admin who helps me keep, my pending transactions in place and touching base with them. But then, we have our whole CRM system that helps remind me to do my daily tasks of calling clients and emails and all that fun thing. So to me, it's really about making lists and making sure that I'm getting things checked off those lists. Like, I'm the kind of person that I'll make a list. If I do something that's not on there, I'll write it down and check it off. So
Okay.
keeping myself straight, it comes a lot from, the team that I'm on and the teams that I've been on in the past too. And just making sure I'm doing what I got to do every day.
Right. Now we've all dealt with many different changes and challenges over the last couple of years. More specifically in real estate. How is the current market where you serve? How would you kind of explain what that market is looking like right now?
So, in my opinion, with the light winter that we've had, I mean, up until maybe Christmas time, I would even say now, like this week with the pelting of snow, like we've had a very mild winter. And I don't know about you, but I have gotten spring fever like crazy.
Yes.
In my opinion, I'm seeing buyers kind of ride that spring fever and start looking a little bit earlier than typically. But with that being said, we still have low inventory in my market. So we're starting to see the short time on market with multiple offers again, which makes it hard to navigate, but it's a fun competition, I guess you could
Right.
say.
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of spring fever is happening in our market, in my opinion.
Okay. So that would from my understanding of that, I'm assuming that means you're getting a lot of requests from buyers looking for homes, but on the lower inventory side, you're not having as many sellers who want to sell their homes, which I believe was completely different from a couple years ago. Am I understanding that correctly?
So a couple of years ago, I would say probably like right before 2020, the market was a little bit different.
Correct.
I think in 2020, the inventory went lower, and then with those interest rates being so low, a lot of people, instead of selling, decided to refinance at that lower rate. So they're wanting to hold that 2-3% that they got and stay in their house a little bit longer, making it hard because then whose house are we buying when we go? I mean, people are always going to be buying and selling homes. The inevitable of having to move sometimes, but people that have the ability to stay locked in at that low mortgage interest rate are staying put, which understandably so. But it's very eerily similar to last winter, around March, April. So we'll see what happens, but I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit of low inventory still for a little while.
Okay, that's interesting. You mentioned the interest rates and things of that nature with people buying more or refinancing more. I want to talk about the misconceptions, the common misconceptions. Buying a home or even selling a home, it's a big, lengthy, complicated process. Are there some misconceptions from either buyers or sellers that you either hear yourself you would like to straighten out, or just in general that you would like to put on the table?
That's a great question. I think a lot of the misconceptions as far as like people buying for the first time, yes, and even after that is a lot of the mortgage side of things. I mean, I bought my home in 2020, and though I was learning about the real estate industry, it was definitely a learning curve for me understanding my payments and all of that stuff. And I feel like sitting down with a good agent and a good lender to fully educate yourself on the process is something that I hope more first-time homebuyers and homebuyers in general do, because I think that it helps the whole process go smoother. And that's what I always tell my clients. I was like, ask me 50 million questions, because I want you to feel comfortable. It's a huge financial decision to buy a house, and I want you to feel comfortable with the process of everything and not feel like you don't understand what's going on. It's a lot of information at once, and it can be really overwhelming to some people. So I think that, the common misconception is to kind of listen to the Facebook articles that pop up, but really, if you have questions about buying a home for the first time, sitting down with a realtor or even a mortgage officer can be really informative and kind of help ease people's mind as far as this huge decision that they're making for themselves.
Yes. A lot of paperwork, a lot of different mortgage jargon that people may not understand.
Oh yeah, the first time
it can be discouraging.
Oh yeah, and I not laugh, but like giggle, because the first time I told somebody about an addendum to their purchase agreement, which is just like a small alteration to it, like they were like, "What is that?" And I was
an addendum?
Exactly.
Do I have to pay for that?
Yes. And I think that that's a common misconception too, is when buying a house, using a realtor, it's paid for by the seller at this point in time, I should say. I think that's a really common misconception that people don't understand is, the benefit of having a buyer's agent is they're going to help assist you to find the best possible fit for you, and negotiate the terms, but you're not paying them out of your pocket. That finance to pay your realtor comes from a seller. So thinking that it's expensive to use a realtor, I've heard that misconception a couple of times. I'm like, no, call me, ask me questions. It's free until you get to the closing table and you pay for your house.
I'm glad you straightened that out, because I kind of didn't know that either.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that.
A lot of people don't know that information, that at this point in time, a buyer's agent is paid by the seller, their commission.
I had no idea. Wow.
Yeah, talk to your local realtor and they'll give you all the good information.
Okay. Those some good information to share. And speaking of good information, I feel like only an established realtor would be able to provide that type of information. And also want to share that information. What are some other important qualities you feel like a successful real estate agent should have?
Gosh. I mean, I've said one already. I think that it's, a good listener, somebody that's hearing what their clients are saying and advocating for them in the process. Somebody that's determined. I mean, a lot of this is getting up, getting to the office all on your own feet. Like, I don't have to text my boss if I'm not coming in, but if I'm not in, what am I doing? So getting distracted is, in my opinion, very easy in this business, because if I don't want to go to work to one day, I don't want to go in the office, I can be at home. But I know for myself, if I'm at home, I'm worried about what's not clean in my house and not what tasks I have to get done in order to make tomorrow a good day too. So that like perseverance, determination to set your goals and reach those goals instead of just being like, oh, I'm my own boss, I can do whatever I want, I can come into work whenever I want. It's about kind of creating a structure for yourself, even though you are your own boss. In a sense, I should say, I'm not my own boss because I work for a team.
Right.
But I'm not 100% my own boss, I should say. But yeah, I mean, since we're contracted agents, the obligation to be in an office setting is not 100% there. And so being able to set goals for yourself, determine, I need to be here at this time, I need to be sitting in my office and getting things done, or even like, an office in your house. But I think that helps make a successful agent too, is making sure that you can organize your time well and whatnot. I'm trying to think if there's, and then it goes to just your personality, like being kind, helpful, and again, a good listener is always useful. I never want to seem closed off to any of my clients, like I'm mad or angry or, I guess irritated with any decisions that they're making, because one, what kind of person wants to go to a grumpy saleswoman? No. And who wants anybody that's not going to be on their side of things? So being a helpful person kind of translates into all of this. And then the last thing that I would say is just continuing to educate yourself on the market, on, different technologies, different things that you can be doing to better aid your clients. I would say always be learning.
Gotcha. One of the things that you said I think is very underrated in quality is having a personality, being personable. Like, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't come off as somebody that I can talk to or just can't hold a conversation with, it's like it's hard. I can just read this on a sheet of paper.
Oh yeah, there's some clients that I've met up with, every other weekend for maybe the whole month of January, and I'm sure they wouldn't want to spend that much time with me if I was a jerk.
Yeah.
Or if I wasn't personable or something along those lines. I think that that's an important aspect, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with these people. You want to, and I think that that's, I know you said there's a lot of agents in my area and whatnot. I think that's something that can set you apart as an agent as well, is being personable and whatnot. Not everybody's going to like me. Not everybody's going to like everyone else, but that's why there's several hundred agents in the area, not just me.
Nice. All right, Julia. Well, thank you. That's all the questions that I have. You want to tell the people how they can reach out to you and get in contact with you, Julia?
Yeah. So you guys can find me on Facebook at Julia Vitula. We have my brokerage or my team page at reddoorrealtygrp.com. You can also email me at julia@reddoorrealtygrp.com.
Nice. All right, Julia. Thank you again so much for talking to me. Thank you for your time. Any and everybody watching right now, I need you to do me a favor. If you like the content so far, please hit the like button, the share button, and subscribe button if you are on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple, or any other podcast platforms, please do the same. Give us a good rating. Give us a like. and subscribe to our channel for all of our latest content. Before we go, let me leave you with this also. How has your living or housing situation changed? Leave your comments right here below. Other than that, we'll see you next time.